They just kind of glossed over that part. But what are the how-tos? How did you all overcome? Because you had sickness, and then we're going to talk about the finances.
Well, one way to overcome it was through prayer. And when Rocky got sick, she had to have 3 back surgeries. And that's something that you don't anticipate when you say I do.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something that you anticipate when you're saying for better, for worse, sickness and health. But it came all the way. And through prayer, through caring, and I would say this, at that point in time, we wasn't at our best in our relationship. But I was taught, and I watched my father, growing up. We had trials in in my family, but my father was a man that he found a way. He left nobody behind. He took care of business. And when Rocky was down, regardless of where we was in our relationship, I was not going to leave her that way. I was going to make sure that she got back on her feet. As a man of God, as a husband, and as a decent person.
Yeah. But sometimes, and again, like you said, prayer is the foundation, because I'm sure there were times, we hear these stories when wife gets sick. And can we be candid here? There have been, there was a woman in my church, and when she got cancer, her husband left her. He couldn't take it. It happens. But you said prayer. Now, Rocky, let's talk about you as a wife. Being sick, not being able to fulfill the duties to your husband. How did you overcome that?
Prayer. One of the things, being a strong woman, and we've all talked about being strong women tonight, being a strong woman, independent woman that has always worked and had her own, having to be dependent upon my husband, not just financially, but he literally had to carry me to and from the restroom. He had to carry me upstairs when I wanted to watch TV, because we took the TV out of our bedroom a long time ago, because that's no place for a television. Other things need to happen in the bedroom. So our television was upstairs, and so he had to carry me. And like he said before, we were not in our best at all. As a matter of fact, we were at our worst. And through prayer and through consideration, and as I watched him as he did that, he didn't have to. He didn't have to carry me. He didn't have to care for me, because we didn't like each other at all. Because I didn't like myself. Because as a wife, I was no longer able to fulfill the duties of a wife. I was no longer to be able to do what I needed to do as a mother. And it put a hole in me. And that hole ate away at my security. So I was insecure. So one of the main things in a relationship, you have to have 2 secure people. Because an insecure person with a whole person, there's no room for it, because it just doesn't work. And I found that with me. When I was my most insecure, that's when we were having our most problems, because he married someone else. I wasn't her anymore.
I want y'all to pay attention. And you married people, correct me if I'm wrong, people of God, Don't you, and any of us, the devil will attack when you are vulnerable. He will attack when you are vulnerable. So when you and Bay are having problems, and when you didn't love each other, the devil's like, I'm going to put this sickness situation up in here, and I'm going to break this thing up. Yeah.
The thing about it is, and they talked about the foundation. Our foundation was friendship. And so because we had that foundation, regardless of how I looked at him or how angry I was at him regarding how he was handling me or how I was handling him, he was still my friend. So the love that I had for him was as my friend. And so we could have an argument, and a real bad argument, but he could say something funny, and now we're laughing about it. But through constant prayer and hard work, marriage is tough. Tough people get married and tough people stay married. And that's real talk, because I don't think that I could be here today if I wasn't married to him. Because not many men could have handled me during that moment of my life. So,
What did you learn about yourselves, each of you? First, you, John, because I find that sometime in this, we learn some things about ourselves we didn't even know. Yeah. What did you learn about yourself? Oh, wait a minute.
Well, I'm looking for the right word, but determined. We was going to make it through it. Dedicated, a fighter. We fight through it. We fight each other. We fight through it. But we made it to the other side. And nothing ever came easy. Like I said, marriage is beautiful, but we can also make marriage tough. Marriage itself is a challenge, but the petty issues that we carry, that makes it even worse because we're fighting over something that really don't even matter because we're trying to prove a point. And through that, we learned that don't fight over the small stuff, anything that doesn't matter. What matters is keeping the love that we have for one another and keeping it real. Yeah. So I would say being a fighter through it all and not a quitter.
Let's talk about the finances, though. Talk about that, Rocky, because why do you find couples have financial? Do you think we don't, see, communication is key. Do people know that when they, we get married, then you find out her credit or his credit cards are calling him out his name. And then you see you got bad credit. Then you find out you get, I'm for real. Yeah.
So for me, I'll be transparent. When we got married, I made promises that I didn't keep. And so that's my transparent moment. I made promises that I didn't keep. So when I got sick and I'm down and now we're depleting all of the things that he built, not me. He built because he was prepared for me. But he was prepared because we were gonna have this amazing life that he had set us up for, but now the funds are deplenishing because I didn't do my part. So then resentment set in. And then for me, the insecurity of no longer being financially stable on my own, because now I'm completely dependent upon him. I'm a flight attendant, and if you don't fly, you don't work. If you don't fly, you don't get paid. So I was on workman's comp, and after 3 back surgeries, I was out for 5 years, guys. 5 years. Wow. 5 years, and this man made sure that my lifestyle never changed. Wow. So, but with that came with the resentment of it. And with me came the insecurity because I wasn't given to my household. Wow. And I don't know about any woman, if you feel like you're not giving, then you don't feel like it's yours. Right. And for me, that's what I felt. And so it put me in a very bad place, a very dark place. And through us actually going to boot camp and dealing with the darkness that we both had, I realized I had daddy issues and he had mama issues. I was fighting my daddy the whole marriage. He was fighting his mom the whole marriage. And once we realized that, and mama's and sisters. And what I tell, I'm also a certified life coach, so when I talk to my clients, one of the things that I tell them, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? I learned how to want to be happy because right just doesn't get it. That's so good. It just doesn't get it all the time because my being right is going to hurt somebody else. It's going to hurt him. Right's going to hurt me because now we going back and forth because I got to be right. I got to have the last word. So now my whole life is, do you want to be happy? Do you want to be right? I choose happy.
Final words. Fellow certified life coach. I love that. I love that.
Well, my whole life has been taking care of others. And I didn't realize that there was a term, life coach, until a few years ago. Because all I know is to be there for other people. Be that sounding board for other people. And it has been an amazing journey. And I'm loving every minute of it. And I learn something from everyone that I coach because I bring them into me. Because it's my ministry. And it's the ministry that God gave me, and it's a gift, and so I use it. And then I happen to be married to an amazing man of God who's also a musician. He's a gospel recording artist, and so I'll let him have it.
Yeah. Final words, John. I love that.
I would say my final words is just this. You know, God said, love your neighbor as as yourself. And I always live by the principle, treat people how you would want to be treated. And throughout this ordeal, I felt if I would have left her in that situation, because it was a situation that I hadn't anticipated. I believe, and we see it all the time, people do ugly things and they go and they get remarried and ugly things happen to that person. So I felt like if I was to treat her that way and just leave her while she was down, God will reverse that thing one day and I'll be in that situation because he's going to make sure you know how it feels. So always know that make sure you treat people like people, how you would really want to be treated. Because I'm telling you, God has a way of turning around and people experience what they dish out.
Yeah.
And I choose to dish out love.
Amen. Good stuff. Thank you. Big round of applause. Now look, let me say this, and I'm going to say this. Be careful, Rocky. Stepping over that. Yeah. There's a difference between a life coach and a certified life coach. You can't leave your healing in everyone's hands. Amen. Like Adrienne Ebell says, we got our papers.